The council chamber floated in space above the purple planet. Inside, hundreds of alien species sat in their seats. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of living crystal that sparkled under the lights. A few resembled walking trees with too many arms. They all had one thing in common today. They were all laughing at the humans. Ambassador Choi Mena stood at the center platform. Her dark suit looked plain compared to the colorful scales and glowing bodies around her. She kept her face calm, but her hands gripped the podium tight. Behind her, a hologram showed human colonies spread across 12 worlds. Small worlds. Weak worlds. Everyone could see that. We request protection for our trade routes, Mena said clearly. Her voice carried through the chamber. 3 of our cargo ships were destroyed last month. The attackers left no survivors. A clicking sound filled the air. It turned into a hissing laugh. Admiral Kreeth rose from his seat. He was Velcrin, one of the insect species that controlled a quarter of the galaxy. His 4 arms spread wide as his mandibles clicked together in amusement. Protection? Kreeth's translator made his voice sound like grinding metal. The humans want us to protect them? These soft creatures who only left their homeworld 50 years ago? More laughter echoed through the chamber. Atharo's representative, its crystalline body flashing with colors, spoke up. Why should we waste our resources on a species that cannot defend itself? Your ships are slow. Your weapons are basic. You are children playing in an adult universe. Mina's jaw tightened, but she did not raise her voice. We have paid our council fees. We have followed every regulation. The council charter promises protection to all member species. The charter promises consideration, a floating jellyfish creature corrected. Its tentacles waved in what might have been dismissal. It does not promise military support to every primitive race that asks for help. Kreeth moved closer to the center platform. His massive form cast a shadow over Mena. Let me tell you something, human. In this galaxy, strength matters. You want safe trade routes? Build better weapons. Train better soldiers. Or stay on your little worlds and be grateful we allow you to exist at all. The Admiral turned to address the entire council. I have seen human warships. They are slow and clumsy. Their armor is thin. Their missiles miss more than they hit. One of my destroyers could defeat 10 of their best vessels. He made that clicking laugh again. They are not warriors. They are barely worth noticing. Mena opened her mouth to respond, but the council leader, an ancient being that looked like a floating brain in a jar, raised one mechanical arm. The council has heard the human request. We will now vote. The vote took less than 2 minutes. Out of 300 council members, only 7 voted to help humanity. The rest voted no or abstained. The numbers appeared on the massive screen above them in red. The request is denied, the council leader announced. Humanity must prove it can defend itself before the council will commit resources to its protection. This session is concluded. Mena stood alone as the chamber emptied around her. Aliens of every shape and size walked past her. Some ignored her completely. Others whispered and pointed. A few made sounds that their translators helpfully reported as laughter or mockery. She finally left the platform and walked toward the exit. Her assistant, a young man named Lee Junho, waited for her outside the chamber doors. His face showed the anger she had been hiding. They laughed at us, Junho said quietly. They laughed at people who died. I know, Mena replied. She kept walking toward their shuttle. But we expected this. The other species see us as weak. We have to change that perception. How? We cannot build a fleet strong enough to match the Velcrin. They have been in space for 3,000 years. We have had faster-than-light travel for barely half a century. Mena allowed herself a small smile. Who said anything about matching them? Meanwhile, in the empty council chamber, something impossible was happening. The air itself seemed to shimmer for just a moment. If anyone had been watching closely, they might have noticed a faint distortion near the ceiling. A place where the stars outside looked slightly wrong. Inside that distortion, Captain Lee Hyun sat in his command chair and watched the empty chamber on his screens. His ship, the Silent Arrow, had been there the whole time, through the entire council session, through every laugh and insult. And nobody had seen them. Did you get all of it? Hyen asked quietly. Lieutenant Park Jiwoo nodded from her station. She was younger than most officers at her rank, but her skills had earned her a place on this experimental ship. Every word, every vote, every laugh, all recorded in multiple formats. Good, Hyen leaned back in his chair. Around him, his bridge crew worked in near silence. They had been holding position for 6 hours, not moving, barely breathing. The stealth field around their ship bent light and sensor waves, making them invisible to every detection system in the galaxy. Engineer Nam Doyun spoke up from his console. Captain, the power levels are good. We can maintain the cloak for another 12 hours if needed. That will not be necessary. Hyen touched the communications panel on his chair. A message appeared, eyes only and encrypted. He read it twice, then allowed himself a rare smile. Operation Shadowproof is authorized, he said to his crew. We are going to show them what humanity can do. Park turned in her seat. Sir, our orders were to observe only. If we take action, we will be starting something we cannot take back. I am aware, Lieutenant. Hyen stood and walked to the main view screen. Outside, the council station glittered with thousands of lights. So many species. So many civilizations. All of them thought humanity was weak. But our people are dying out there. Our ships are being destroyed. And the galaxy thinks we are too primitive to matter. He turned to face his crew. 20 men and women who had trained for 3 years on this experimental vessel. They had been chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to stay calm under pressure, to remain silent and still for hours or even days, to be invisible. They think we are children, Hyen continued. They think we are weak because they can see our ships coming from light years away. They think we are primitive because we fight with weapons they can detect and defend against. His smile grew wider. They have no idea what we can really do. Pilot An Seojun checked his navigation console. Course laid in, Captain. We can reach the Kelros Nebula in 18 hours. Then that is where we will go. Hyen returned to his chair. Intelligence reports say Velcrim pirates are operating in that area. They have been attacking neutral shipping, killing civilians, and they broadcast their attacks like entertainment. He touched another control. The main screen shifted to show Admiral Kreeth's face, frozen in mid-laugh from the recording they had just made. Let us see how much he laughs when he cannot see us coming. The bridge crew exchanged glances. They all knew what this meant. For 50 years, humanity had been the weak species. The newcomers. The ones everyone else pushed around or ignored. That was about to change. Helm, move us out, Hyen ordered. Silent running. No active sensors. No communications. We are a ghost. Yes, sir, Seojin replied. His hands moved across the controls. The Silent Arrow turned away from the council station. Its engines produced almost no signature. Its hull absorbed radar and lidar instead of reflecting them. Even its heat was channeled into special storage systems that would release it slowly over days. To every sensor in the system. The space where the ship had been was empty. There was nothing there. Nothing had ever been there. Inside the ship, Captain Lee Hyen watched the stars slide past. Somewhere out in the darkness, people were dying because the galaxy thought humanity was weak. That was going to stop. The aliens had laughed at humanity. They had mocked human ships and human weapons. They had dismissed human lives as not worth protecting. Soon they would learn the truth. The most dangerous weapon was not the biggest gun or the fastest missile. It was the enemy you never saw coming. The strike from nowhere that left you wondering what happened. Humanity had been building in secret for 10 years. 7 ships like the Silent Arrow, 7 ghosts that could appear anywhere, strike from nowhere, and vanish before anyone knew what happened. The age of being laughed at was over. The age of the ghost ships was about to begin, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. *. The Kelros Nebula glowed purple and blue against the black of space. Gas clouds twisted in slow motion, lit from within by dying stars. It was beautiful and dangerous at the same time. Ships could hide in the dense clouds. Sensors did not work well here. That made it perfect for pirates. Captain Li Haiyan had been watching the Velcrin fleet for 3 days now. His ship, the Silent Arrow, drifted through space like a ghost. The 12 Velcrin warships moved in formation, hunting for prey. They did not know they were being hunted themselves. Movement on the edge of the nebula, Lieutenant Park Jiwoo reported from her tactical station. Her screen showed several small dots entering the area. 8 civilian transports. 4 are marked as human vessels. Haiyan leaned forward in his chair. Are they armed? Negative, sir. Standard cargo ships. No weapons, minimal shields. Park's voice was tight. They are sending out the standard neutral passage codes. They think they are safe because they are not military targets. Engineer Nam Doyan looked up from his console. The Velcrin are changing course. They are moving to intercept. Everyone on the bridge knew what that meant. The Velcrin did not stop neutral ships to inspect them. They simply destroyed them and took whatever cargo survived. Then they broadcast the attacks as a warning to other species. Stay out of their territory. Know your place. Sir, our orders are to observe only, Park reminded him quietly. We are not supposed to engage. Haiyan watched the screen as the Velcrin fleet picked up speed. In 20 minutes, they would reach the convoy. In 25 minutes, those 8 ships and everyone aboard them would be dead. He could see it playing out in his mind. The sudden attack. The desperate calls for help that nobody would answer. The debris field that would be all that remained. How long have we been in space, Lieutenant? Haiyan asked. Park blinked at the unexpected question. Humanity has had faster-than-light travel for 51 years, sir. And in those 51 years, how many times has the galaxy helped us when our people were in danger? Never, sir, exactly. Haiyan stood up. Helm, bring us closer to the Velcrin fleet. Stay in the nebula clouds. Use them for extra cover. Pilot on Sejong grinned. Yes, sir. They will never see us coming. The Silent Arrow moved through the gas clouds like a shark through murky water. Its stealth systems bent the nebula radiation around it. Even if the Velcrin had been looking directly at them, they would have seen nothing but empty space. Dr. Yoon Hana appeared on the bridge. She was not military, but her expertise in alien biology had earned her a place on the mission. Captain, if we engage, there will be consequences. The Velcrin Empire will demand answers. Let them demand, Haiyan replied. I am tired of watching humans die while we hide in the shadows. He turned to his tactical officer. Lieutenant Park, I need firing solutions on all 12 Velcrin ships. Can you do it? Park's fingers flew across her console. It will take me 8 minutes to calculate trajectories for the ghost torpedoes. They have to be perfect or the Velcrin will have time to react. You have 8 minutes. The bridge fell silent except for the soft beeping of computers. On the main screen, the Velcrin fleet grew closer to their targets. The civilian convoy had no idea death was approaching. Sergeant Kang Minho entered the bridge. He commanded the 20 Marines stationed aboard the Silent Arrow. His armor was painted matte black to avoid reflections. Sir, my men are ready if you need boarding teams. Not yet, Sergeant. But stay ready. Park looked up from her screen. Sir, I have the solutions. But there is a problem. If we fire all weapons at once, we will drop the stealth field for approximately 4 seconds. The power drain is too high. 4 seconds. Haiyan considered this. 4 seconds was enough time for the Velcrin to see them, to record their position, to know a human ship was there. 4 seconds was enough to change everything. Do it anyway, he decided. Nam spoke up from engineering. Captain, I can modify the field generators. We can keep the cloak active through the weapon discharge, but the ghost torpedoes might become visible half a second before impact. Half a second is not enough time for them to react. Make it happen. The engineer nodded and began working. His hands moved quickly across the holographic controls. On his screen, complex equations scrolled past faster than most people could read. But Nem had designed half the systems on this ship. He knew every circuit and every power relay. Modifications complete, Nam announced after 3 minutes. The stealth field will hold, but I cannot guarantee it will stay stable if we take any hits. We will not get hit, Hyan said with confidence. They cannot shoot what they cannot see. The Velcran fleet was almost in weapons range of the convoy now. On the communication channels, the Velcran commander was broadcasting in the clear. His name was Shrix, and he wanted everyone to hear what came next. Human vessels, you have entered Velcran space, Shrix announced. His translator made his clicking voice sound almost amused. This is restricted territory. Your ships will be destroyed as an example to other soft-skinned primitives who do not know their place. One of the human cargo captains responded with panic in his voice. We have neutral passage codes. We have done nothing wrong. Please, we have families aboard. Then you should have stayed in your own territory, Shrix replied. Begin attack. The Velcran warships powered up their weapons. Their gun ports glowed red as energy built up inside them. In seconds, they would fire. Lieutenant Park, you may fire when ready, Heian said calmly. Firing now, Park replied. The silent arrow shuddered as 24 ghost torpedoes launched from hidden tubes. The weapons were humanity's greatest achievement in military technology. Each torpedo had its own miniature stealth field. They appeared on no sensors. They reflected no light. They were invisible death, flying through space at incredible speed. The torpedoes crossed the distance to the Velcran fleet in 18 seconds. The Velcran never saw them coming, never had any warning, never knew anything was wrong until the first impacts hit. 6 Velcran warships exploded at the same moment. The blasts lit up the nebula like small suns. Metal and fire bloomed in the vacuum of space. 3 more ships took critical damage. Their shields collapsed. Their engines went dead. They drifted helplessly, bleeding air and radiation. The remaining 3 Velcran ships spun in confusion, searching for their attacker. Their sensors showed nothing. No energy signatures? No ship emissions? Nothing? What happened? Commander Shrix's voice came over the open channel. Report, where did those weapons come from? Hyan touched his communications panel. It was time to stop hiding. Time to let the galaxy know that humanity was done being pushed around. This is Captain Li Hyan of the Human Confederacy warship Silent Arrow, he announced on all frequencies. Every ship in the area would hear this. Every station within light years would record it. You wanted to kill humans because you thought we were weak. You thought we could not fight back? You were wrong. Impossible. Shrix shouted. There are no human ships on our sensors. You are lying. Then let me help you, Hyan said. He nodded to Nem. The engineer pressed a single button. For exactly 3.7 seconds, the stealth field dropped. The silent arrow became visible to every sensor in the system. Cameras recorded its sleek, deadly shape, its human markings, its weapon ports that were still glowing from the torpedo launch. Then it vanished again. The Velcran crews saw it. The civilian convoy saw it. And more importantly, every automated recording system in the area captured it. Within hours, that image would spread across the galaxy. A human warship appearing from nowhere. A ghost made real. That is impossible. Shrix's voice had lost its confident tone. No ship can hide from our sensors. No species has that technology. Humanity does, Hyan replied. And we are done being victims. Tell your empire that humans are no longer easy prey. Tell them that we see everything. Tell them that we can strike from anywhere and vanish before you can respond. He nodded to Park again. She fired another spread of torpedoes. 2 of the 3 remaining Velcran ships exploded. The last one, Shrix's command ship, took damage to its engines, but survived. Leave now, Hyan commanded. Go back to your empire. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that the age of laughing at humanity is over. For a moment there was silence. Then Shrix's ship turned and ran. Its damaged engines struggled, but it managed to jump to faster-than-light speed, running away from an enemy it could not see. running from a human ship. The civilian convoy sat in stunned silence. Finally, one of the human captains spoke up. Silent Arrow, this is cargo vessel Morning Star. Thank you. You saved our lives. You are welcome, Morning Star, Hyan replied. Get your people to safety. This area is no longer secure. As the convoy jumped away to safety, the crew of the Silent Arrow watched the debris field where the Velcrin ships had been. 12 warships had entered the nebula. Only one had left, and it had run away in terror. Sir, we are receiving multiple communication signals, Lieutenant Park reported. Every major power in the galaxy is demanding to know what just happened. They want answers about our stealth technology. Let them what? Hyan said. He was already thinking about the next mission. Helm, take us deeper into the nebula. Silent running. We need to disappear again. Already on it, sir, Seojin replied. Dr. Yoon was staring at her screen with a worried expression. Captain, what we just did will have serious consequences. The emergency council session started badly and got worse. Velcrin Admiral Kreeth slammed 2 of his 4 arms on the podium hard enough to crack it. His mandibles clicked so fast his translator could barely keep up. A human ship attacked our vessels. Kreeth's voice echoed through the chamber. 12 of our warships were destroyed by a single vessel we could not detect. The council must act. The Theros representative flashed colors that meant skepticism. How do we know it was really a human ship? Perhaps the Velcrin are making excuses for their own failures. We have the recordings. Kreeth activated a hologram. The image showed the Silent Arrow appearing from nothing, its weapons still hot from firing. Then it vanished again. There. A human vessel with technology that should not exist. The council chamber filled with worried murmurs. Hundreds of species watched the recording again and again. A ship appearing from nowhere. Striking without warning. Disappearing before anyone could respond. This changed everything. Ambassador Choi Mena stood at the human delegation section. She kept her expression neutral, but inside she felt both proud and worried. Proud that humanity had shown its strength. Worried about what came next. The humans must reveal how many of these ships they have built, demanded a reptilian delegate. They must share the stealth technology with the council. This is a matter of galactic security. Humanity will not share its defensive technology, Mina replied calmly. Just as other species do not share theirs. We have broken no laws. You have attacked council members. We defended civilian vessels from pirates, Mina corrected. The Velcrin attacked neutral ships in supposedly safe territory. We simply protected those who could not protect themselves, something the council refused to do. That caused an uproar. Species began arguing with each other. Some supported humanity. Most were simply afraid. If humans had one invisible ship, how many more did they have? Could human ships be watching them right now? How long had humanity been hiding this capability? While the council argued, thousands of light years away, Captain Lee Hyun was dealing with his own problems. The Silent Arrow had been running silent for 6 days. They had been moving through different systems, always watching, always gathering intelligence. Captain, we have a situation, Commander Baek Jin-ha reported. She was the ship's intelligence officer, and she had been monitoring enemy communications constantly. The Tharos Collective has dispatched 3 hunter-killer groups. They are specifically looking for us. Hyan studied the tactical display. The Tharos ships were crystalline beings who lived inside their vessels. Their sensors were among the best in the galaxy. If anyone could find the Silent Arrow, it was them. How are they searching? He asked. They are using a grid pattern, Park explained from her station. Each group has 6 ships working together. They sweep an area, then move to the next section. They are being very systematic. Engineer Nam looked worried. Sir, if they saturate an area with enough sensor beams, they might detect our stealth field. The system is nearly perfect, but nothing is completely invisible if you try hard enough. Then we will not let them try hard enough, Hyan decided. We are not going to hide from them. We are going to hunt them instead. Sergeant Kong looked up from where he had been checking his rifle. Sir, are we going to fight 18 Thoros ships? Not fight, hunt. Hyan smiled. There is a difference. Lieutenant Park, which hunter group is closest to us? Group 2. They are 3 light years from our position. 6 heavy cruisers moving in formation. Set course to intercept? Silent running. I want to get close to them. The silent arrow changed direction and accelerated. In the vastness of space, finding one hidden ship should have been impossible. But Hyan was not trying to hide from them anymore. He was stalking them like a predator stalking prey. It took 2 days to catch up with the Thoros ships. They were sweeping through an empty system, their powerful sensors reaching out in all directions, looking for any hint of the human ghost ship. We are within weapons range, Park reported quietly. They have not detected us. Good, do not fire yet. Hyan studied the enemy formation. The 6 Thoros ships moved together, their crystalline hulls glowing with internal light. Helm, I want you to fly past them. Get within 1 kilometer of their lead ship. Pilot on Sojin turned in his seat. Sir, that is very close. If their sensors spike at the wrong moment, they might catch us. That is the idea. The silent arrow approached the Thoros formation. Closer and closer. The bridge crew barely breathed. They passed the first ship so close that they could see individual crystal facets on its hull through the view screen. The Thoros never knew they were there. Now active scan them, Hyan ordered. Just a single ping. Make sure they notice. Nam sent out a brief sensor pulse. For half a second, the Thoros ships would have detected something. Just a flicker. A ghost on their screens. Then nothing. The reaction was immediate. The Thoros formation broke apart. Ships scattered in different directions, searching frantically. Their communications channels exploded with confused reports. Something had been there. They were sure of it. But now there was nothing. Captain Velth to all ships, a translated voice came over the open channel. Report, did anyone get a clear reading? Negative, Captain. Just a momentary signal. It was there. I saw it on my sensors for half a second. Could it be a malfunction? All 6 of us had the same malfunction at the same time? Impossible. Hyan smiled. Do it again. Different ship this time. The silent arrow moved through the scattered formation like a ghost. Another sensor ping. Another panicked reaction. The Thoros ships were now firing their weapons at empty space, hoping to hit something they could not see. They are falling apart, Park observed. Their formation is completely broken. They are shooting at sensor ghosts? Fear is a powerful weapon, Dr. Yoon said quietly from her station. They know we are here, but they cannot find us. That is worse than being attacked directly. For 3 hours, the silent arrow played with the Thoros group. Brief appearances on sensors. Occasional active scans. Once, they even fired a single torpedo that missed on purpose, just to show the Thoros they were in weapons range. Captain Velth was losing control of his group. All ships, reform on my position. We need to work together. Too late. One of the Thoros ships fired at a sensor ghost and hit another Thoros vessel instead. The crystalline hull cracked. Air and energy leaked into space. The damaged ship limped away from the formation. This is madness. Another Thoros captain shouted. We cannot fight what we cannot see. I am leaving the system. 2 of the 6 ships jumped to faster than light speed, abandoning the search. The remaining 4 moved closer together, their sensors at maximum power. They were so focused on finding the silent arrow that they did not notice the human ship had already left. Hyan watched the Thoros ships on his screen from several light minutes away. Send them a message. Text only. No source signature. What should it say, sir? Asked Lieutenant Han Jiho, the communications officer. Tell them, we have been watching. We have always been watching. Sleep well. The message went out. On the Thoros ships, bridge crews read those words and felt their confidence shatter completely. Captain Velth stared at his empty sensor screens and realized the truth. The human ship could be anywhere. It could be right next to them at this very moment, and they would never know. Retreat, Velth ordered quietly. All ships return to base. We cannot hunt what we cannot find. The 4 remaining Tharos ships jumped away. Another hunter group had failed to find their prey. But Hyan knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was now afraid of human stealth ships. That fear would spread. And fear made people do dangerous things. "Sir, we have new intelligence," Commander Beak announced. She looked grim. "The Velkrin are planning something big. They are gathering their main battle fleet." "How big?" Hyan asked. "Over 200 warships. And according to intercepted communications, they are planning to attack Earth directly." The bridge went silent. Everyone understood what that meant. The Velkrin were not hunting anymore. They were going for total war. They wanted to destroy the human homeworld as a message to the entire galaxy. Show everyone what happened when a lesser species dared to fight back. "When?" Hyan asked simply. "Within 2 weeks. They are still gathering forces, but once they move, they will hit Earth hard and fast." Hyan stood from his chair and walked to the view screen. Out there in the dark, humanity's homeworld spun peacefully. Billions of people going about their lives. They had no idea a massive fleet was about to attack. "Helm, plot a course back to Earth, maximum speed, but stay in stealth." "Yes, sir." "We can make it in 10 days?" "Do it." Hyan turned to his communications officer. "Han, send a coded message to Fleet Command. Tell them what is coming. And tell them to activate all ghost ships. All of them, sir. We have never used more than 1 at a time." "The time for secrets is over," Hyan replied. "The Velkrin want war. We are going to show them what happens when you threaten humanity's home." Dr. Yoon looked concerned. "Captain, if we commit all 7 stealth ships to one battle, we lose our strategic advantage. The galaxy will know exactly how many we have." "I know. But Earth is not negotiable. We protect our home, whatever the cost." Sergeant Kong spoke up. "Sir, request permission to prepare my Marines for combat operations." Earth's defense stations detected the Velkrin fleet when it was still 2 light years away. 240 warships moving in perfect formation. The largest military force the Velkrin Empire had sent in 50 years. They were not hiding their approach. They wanted everyone to see them coming. General Song Minjae stood in the Earth Defense Command center and watched the tactical display with a grim face. Around him, dozens of officers worked at their stations, coordinating humanity's response. It was not enough. It would never be enough, our fleet? He asked his second in command. 43 ships, sir? Every combat vessel we can spare. The rest are protecting the colonies. 43 against 240. The mathematics were simple and brutal. Even if every human ship fought perfectly, even if they destroyed 3 enemy vessels each, Earth would still fall. The Velkrin would bombard the planet from orbit. Billions would die. When will the Velkrin arrive? Song asked. 18 hours, sir. 18 hours until the end of everything humanity had built. Song closed his eyes briefly. Then he opened them and stood straighter. If this was the end, they would face it with dignity. Order the fleet to defensive positions around Earth. Tell the orbital platforms to power up all weapons. And evacuate as many civilians from the coastal cities as possible. His officers moved to carry out the orders. Nobody asked if there was a plan. Nobody suggested surrender. Humanity would fight to the last ship. That was who they were. Then a new signal appeared on the tactical display. A communication request, eyes only for the general. The source code identified it as coming from the silent arrow. Song moved to a private terminal and opened the message. Captain Lee Hyan's face appeared on the screen. Behind him, Song could see the bridge of the stealth ship. General Song, this is Captain Hyan. I am currently 3 light minutes from Earth. I have brought friends. The camera angle on the message widened. Song's eyes went wide as he saw 6 more ships on the silent arrow sensors. All of them human. All of them with the same stealth capabilities. 7 ghost ships where the galaxy thought only one existed. My God, Song whispered. You built more. We built 7, sir. 1 for each continent on Earth. We have been training crews for 3 years. Now we are ready. Hyon's face was calm but determined. The Velcrin want to destroy our home. We are going to teach them why that was a mistake. 7 ships against 240, Song said. The odds are still impossible. With respect, sir, you are thinking in conventional terms. The Velcrin do not know we are here. They do not know how many of us there are. And they have never faced coordinated ghost ship tactics before. Hyan smiled. We are not going to stand in front of them and trade shots. We are going to tear them apart from the inside. 6 hours later, the Velcrin fleet approached Earth. Admiral Kreeth stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominance. Around him, 240 warships moved in perfect formation. This was the moment he had been planning for weeks. The moment humanity learned its place. Sir, the human fleet is forming up around their home world, his tactical officer reported. 43 vessels. They are significantly outnumbered. As expected, Kreeth clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. The humans are brave but foolish. They should have surrendered. Now we will destroy their fleet, then bombard their planet. The galaxy will see what happens to species that dare to attack the Velcrin Empire. His communications officer spoke up. Sir, we are receiving a message from Earth. It is from their ambassador. Put it through. Ambassador Choi Mina appeared on the screen. She stood in what looked like a government building. Behind her, Song and other military leaders were visible. She looked calm despite the massive fleet approaching her world. Admiral Kreeth, I am speaking on behalf of humanity. We know why you are here. We know you intend to destroy Earth as revenge for your losses in the Kelros Nebula. Correct, Kreeth replied. You attacked Velcrin vessels. You killed Velcrin warriors. Now you will pay the price. Before you attack, I want to show you something. Mina gestured off-screen. Run the footage. A new image appeared on every Velcrin ship. It showed space near Earth, empty space. Nothing there. Then 7 ships appeared at the same moment. 7 human stealth vessels uncloaking in perfect synchronization. The Silent Arrow and 6 sister ships all aimed at the Velcrin fleet. Then they vanished again. What you just saw is real, Mina said calmly. 7 of our ghost ships. And you should ask yourself a question, Admiral. If we showed you 7 ships, how many more do we have that we did not show? 10? 20? 50? Kreeth felt a chill run through his body. 7 ships. 7 invisible ships that could be anywhere. Could be right next to his flagship at this very moment. His sensors would never detect them until they fired. You are bluffing, he said, but his voice lacked confidence. You cannot have that many stealth vessels, can't we? Mina smiled. You laughed at us, Admiral. You called us primitive. You said we were children playing with toys. But while you were laughing, we were building. While you were mocking us, we were preparing. You have no idea what we are capable of. The communication ended. Kreeth stared at his empty sensor screens. His tactical officer looked nervous. Sir, orders? Before Kreeth could respond, 3 of his ships exploded. The blasts came from within his formation. No warning. No sensor contact. Just sudden death for 3 vessels and their entire crews. Report? Kreeth shouted. What happened? Unknown, sir. The ships just exploded. I am detecting torpedo impacts, but I never saw the weapons coming. 4 more ships died, then 6 more. The Velcrin formation started to break apart as ships scattered, trying to avoid an enemy they could not see. Panic spread through the fleet. Inside the Silent Arrow, Captain Hin coordinated the attack with deadly precision. On his tactical display, he could see all 7 ghost ships moving through the Velcrin formation. Each captain commanded their vessel independently but worked together like parts of a single weapon. Captain Ro, take your group and hit their left flank, Hyon ordered. Captain Royuna commanded the Phantom Blade and 2 other ships. She was aggressive and brilliant in combat. Captain Beak, maintain pressure on their center. Understood, Ro's voice came back. Engaging now? The ghost ships moved through the Velcrin fleet like sharks among fish. They appeared just long enough to fire, then vanished again. The Velcrin could not track them, could not predict where they would strike next, could not defend against weapons they never saw coming. "Sir, the Velcrin are attempting to form defensive clusters," Park reported from her tactical station. "They are grouping their ships together? Good, that makes them easier targets." Hyan studied his display. "All ships, focus on the command vessels. Take out their leadership." 20 Velcrin ships were destroyed in the next 5 minutes. Then 30. The precise number did not matter anymore. What mattered was the fear spreading through the enemy fleet. They were being slaughtered by an enemy they could not see. On the Dominance, Admiral Kreeth watched his fleet die. His tactical display showed ships disappearing one after another. His communications channels were filled with panicked reports. Captains were abandoning their positions. Some ships were even firing at each other, seeing enemies everywhere. "Sir, we must retreat," his executive officer insisted. "We cannot fight what we cannot see." Kreeth wanted to argue, wanted to order his fleet to hold position, but he was not a fool. This battle was already lost. He had brought 240 ships to destroy Earth. Now barely 200 remained, and they were dying faster every minute. "All ships, retreat to..." He never finished the order. The bridge lights went dark. Emergency power kicked in a moment later, bathing everything in red. His tactical officer looked at her console in horror. "Sir, our engines are offline. We have been boarded." Sergeant Kang and his Marines had inserted through an airlock on the Dominance's lower hull. The Velcrin never detected them coming. Now 20 human soldiers moved through the enemy flagship with ruthless efficiency. "Engineering is secure," Kang reported over his helmet radio. "Power systems are under our control." "Bridge is 2 decks up," came another voice. "We are meeting resistance but pushing through." Kang led his team up the access corridors. They moved fast and quiet. The Velcrin security forces were not prepared for boarders. They had never imagined the humans would have ships capable of getting close enough to board them. The Marines reached the bridge in 8 minutes. Shaped charges blew the sealed doors inward. Kang was the first one through, his rifle targeting any threat. Around him, his team secured the bridge in seconds. Admiral Kreeth stood with his 4 arms raised. His mandibles clicked in what might have been surrender or simply shock. Around him, his bridge crew sat frozen at their stations. "Admiral Kreeth," Kang said through his translator, "you are now a prisoner of the Human Confederacy. Your fleet has been defeated. Order your remaining ships to surrender, or we will destroy every single one of them." Kreeth looked at the human soldiers. So small compared to Velcrin warriors. So weak-looking. But they had taken his ship. They had killed dozens of his vessels. They had done the impossible. "How?" he asked quietly. "How do you have this technology?" "You are primitives. You have only been in space for 50 years. "That is 50 years longer than we needed," Kang replied. "Now give the order." 3 weeks after the Battle of Earth, Captain Lee Hyan sat in his ready room aboard the Silent Arrow and studied the strange signal his ship had detected. It was old. Incredibly old. And it was repeating the same message over and over in a language that should not exist. "Come to these coordinates. We have been waiting to meet you." Engineer Nam stood beside him, looking at the same data. "Sir, this signal uses quantum entanglement communication. That technology is theoretical. Nobody has made it work. Nobody except whoever sent this message," Hyan finished. "How old is it?" "The signal has been repeating for at least 10,000 years. Maybe longer. And Captain, there is something else. Remember the core principles of our stealth technology? The mathematical equations we built everything on? Yes, we found them in an old database. Ancient human research from before we had faster-than-light travel." Nam shook his head. "I have been analyzing the signal. It contains the same equations. The exact same ones. Sir, someone gave us the stealth technology. They wanted us to find it." Hyan felt cold. Everything humanity had accomplished in the past years. The ghost ships. The victory over the Velcrin. All of it might have been planned by someone else. Something else. I'm going to that location, Hyan decided. Alone, do not tell the other captains yet. If this is a trap, I will not risk more than one ship. The silent arrow jumped through space for 3 days. The coordinates led to a dead system. No planets. No stations. Just empty space surrounding a dying red star. And waiting in that space was something that should not exist, a ship hung in the void. It was massive, easily 10 times the size of the largest human vessel. Its hull was black and seemed to absorb light instead of reflecting it. And it was completely invisible to every sensor until the silent arrow got close enough to see it with optical cameras. That thing has perfect stealth, Park whispered from her station. Even better than ours. If it had not wanted us to find it, we never would have. Hail them, Hyan ordered. A response came immediately. Not through radio or quantum communications. The message simply appeared on their screens, in perfect human language. Captain Lee Hyan, we have been waiting for you. For your species? Permission to come aboard my vessel. You may bring 5 others. You will not be harmed. How do you know my name? Han asked. We know many things. We have been watching humanity for a very long time. Please come. There is much to discuss. Hyan selected his boarding party carefully. Lieutenant Park, Engineer Nam, Dr. Yoon, Sergeant Kong, and Commander Beek for her intelligence expertise. 6 humans in a small shuttle, approaching a ship that could destroy them without effort. The alien vessel's airlock opened for them. Inside, the corridors were wide and empty. Soft light came from the walls themselves. Everything was clean and pristine, as if the ship had been built yesterday instead of millennia ago. A figure waited for them in what appeared to be an observation room. It looked almost human, but not quite. Taller, thinner, with eyes that held too much knowledge. It wore simple robes and watched them with an expression that might have been amusement. Welcome, it said in perfect human speech. I am what you might call a precursor. My species explored the galaxy millions of years before yours learned to make fire. Please sit. We have much to discuss. The human sat carefully. Hyan studied the being across from him. This creature was old. Not just individually, but the entire species. Ancient beyond understanding. You gave us the stealth technology, Hyan said. It was not a question. We left it where you would find it, the precursor confirmed. Along with many other things over your history. Small hints. Gentle pushes in the right direction. We have been guiding your development for thousands of years. Why? Dr. Yoon asked. Why help us at all? Because we test every species that reaches for the stars, the precursor replied. Most fail. They gain power too quickly. Weapons that can destroy worlds. Technology that can enslave minds. And they use that power to conquer, to dominate, to destroy others. So we let them rise and we watch them fall. It stood and walked to the observation window. Outside, space stretched endlessly in all directions. The Velcran Empire gained advanced weapons 3,000 years ago. Do you know what they did with that power? They destroyed 17 species. Enslaved 20 more. They became tyrants and we let them, because that is what they chose to become. The precursor turned back to the humans. So we test each species. We give them power and see what they do with it. Most fail, they become monsters. But occasionally a species surprises us, and humanity? Hyan asked quietly. You were given the ability to hide, to strike from nowhere, to be invisible. That is perhaps the most dangerous power in the galaxy. A weapon nobody can defend against. The precursor's eyes focused on Hyan. We expected you to use it to conquer, to strike your enemies while they could not fight back, to become the very thing you feared. But we didn't, Park said. No, you defended your people. You showed mercy to those who showed you none. You captured enemies instead of killing them when you could have. You had the power to destroy the Velcran fleet completely, but you let them retreat. Why? Hyan thought about his answer carefully. Because we remember what it was like to be weak. To be helpless. To watch our people die while others laughed. We won't become the species that does that to others. The precursor smiled. It was a strange expression on its alien face. That is what we hoped you would say. That is why humanity has passed the test. There was a test? Sergeant Kang asked suspiciously. Everything is a test, the precursor replied. The Council mocking you. The Velcrin attacking your ships? The battle for Earth? All of it was designed to see how humanity would respond to power and pressure. You chose mercy when you could have chosen vengeance. You chose protection when you could have chosen conquest. Engineer Nam stood up angrily. You let our people die. Those cargo ships at Kelros, the colonies that were attacked, all of that was part of your test. Yes, the precursor did not look apologetic. A species that cannot face hardship is not ready for the true dangers of the galaxy, and a species that responds to hardship with cruelty is not worthy of survival. So what now? Hyan asked. You have tested us. We passed. What comes next? The precursor walked to a panel on the wall and activated it. Holographic displays showed the galaxy. Hundreds of thousands of stars. Millions of worlds. And scattered among them points of red light. These are the ascended races, the precursor explained. Species that passed our tests? They have access to technologies far beyond what you have seen. Faster than light travel that takes minutes instead of days. Weapons that can destroy stars. Medical technology that extends life for centuries. We offer this to you now. In exchange for what? Commander Beak asked. Her intelligence training made her suspicious of any deal that seemed too good. In exchange, you join us in watching over the younger races. You help us test them. You let some species fail, even when you could save them. You become observers, not participants. The room went silent. The humans looked at each other, understanding what was being asked. They would gain incredible power, but they would have to stand by and watch other species suffer and die, just as they had suffered. They would become like the precursor, ancient, powerful, and distant. Hyan stood and walked to the window. He looked out at the galaxy. So many stars. So many worlds. So many species struggling to survive just as humanity had struggled. No, he said simply. The precursor tilted its head. You refuse? Yes, we refuse. Hyan turned to face the ancient being. You gave us a test. You wanted to see if we would choose mercy over cruelty. Well, here is our choice. We will not abandon other species to suffer just because it's convenient. We will not watch them die just to test their character. Park stood beside her captain. We were mocked, dismissed, attacked. Nobody helped us. We remember how that felt. We won't become the species that does nothing while others suffer. Even if refusing our offer means you develop more slowly? The precursor asked. Even if other species surpass you? Even then, Dr. Yoon said firmly. Power without compassion is just tyranny with better weapons. You taught us that, didn't you? That was the real test. Not whether we could be merciful to our enemies, but whether we would abandon others to gain power for ourselves. The precursor was quiet for a long moment. Then it began to laugh. Not mockery, but genuine amusement and satisfaction. You truly passed, it said. The final test was the offer itself. Every other species we offered this to accepted immediately. They wanted the power. They wanted to join the Ascended. But you refused. You chose principle over power. The holographic display changed. The red points of light faded. New points appeared, blue and bright. These are the species we actually support, the precursor explained. The ones who refused our offer, just as you did. The ones who chose to help others instead of gaining power for themselves. They are the true Ascended? And now, so are you. New data began flowing to the humans' portable computers. Technology, science, medical advancements. Not everything. Not enough to make them gods, but enough to help them protect those who needed protection. You will not become like us, the precursor said. You will become something better. You will be the protectors, the defenders. the species that remembers what it was like to be weak.